Hi, and welcome to today's webinar on the Alibi Cloud VS system. My name is Keith Becker. I'm a Senior Product Manager here at Alibi Security, and today we're going to be walking through our new camera-to-cloud surveillance platform. Today's objectives, we're going to go through about 40 minutes of a slideshow presentation with some examples of the platform we're going to talk about, some applications. If you've got questions, usually go to Webinar Tools. That way we can get to some Q&A at the end of this session. And then after the webinar, we're going to have some email links with content from this presentation as well as the FAQs. Please go online to our alibisecurity.com website, check out more information on this solution, and then please call your account rep after this to ask for a live demo so you can see the platform work in real time. So for those of you that are new to us, let me give you a little bit of a background on Alibi Security. So Alibi Security has been in the business for over 30 years. Right around 30. We are a value-added technology partner that specializes in video and audio surveillance, access control products, as well as now cloud-based video systems as a service. What really sets us apart in the industry is our investment into helping our partners grow their business. We do a lot of business enablement services for our partners, which include pre- and post-sale support. We have dedicated account reps for all of your needs. We do offer direct technical support for the majority of our products here in-house. We offer a multitude of professional services that ranges from system configuration, advanced system design, site surveys. We like to do anything we can to help you be successful when you're out in the field. We also offer a multitude of marketing services and lead generation opportunities. So if you're not taking advantage of any of our marketing services, again, talk to your account rep after this presentation to find out more information on that. Today, and lastly, we're here to talk about our new VSaaS solutions. So before we hop into that, this solution has been developed in partnership with Eagle Eye Networks. And for those of you that don't know who Eagle Eye Networks is, they were founded in 2012 with one thing in mind, and that was to become the global leader in video systems in the cloud. We've partnered with them to help develop a new cloud platform that is a camera-to-cloud technology. It's been in the market for a very long time in other parts of the world with a very large install base. So we're going to continue to build on that success, and we'll continue to evolve that platform together. So today's agenda, we're going to cover a brief snapshot into the VSaaS market so you understand why we're so excited about this system and why you should be too. Then we're going to hop right into the Alibi Cloud VS overview. We'll walk through the solution, features and benefits for you, how the subscription options work, a few screenshots of the product itself so you can see some of the demonstration modes of how we manage it. Then we'll also walk through why the Alibi Cloud VS system. We'll walk through the benefits versus a traditional system and then why this would matter to you as one of our dealers. Next, to go into some applications on where this is a good fit. That way you can see what type of solutions you might want to pitch this for. Lastly, we'll close off on some sales and marketing support, some next steps, and then some questions and answers at the end. So to talk about the VSaaS market in general, this segment in the industry has been continuing to grow year on year, almost at a 30% annual growth rate. We're about to end 2019, and in 2020, the projections are that the VSaaS market's going to be close to 2.7 billion globally. 30% of that roughly is going to be in the American market. So there's a huge opportunity for us to be able to take customers into a newer platform, something that's going to be future-proof, a little modernized, that's ultra secure. So without further ado, we'll introduce you to the Alibi Cloud VS system. So this is what we call a true camera-to-cloud surveillance solution. And what we mean by that is we're taking cloud-enabled cameras, we're streaming that video to a secure data center where the system is fully managed, video stored, and that's where we access the entire platform. As we mentioned earlier, we developed this in partnership with Eagle Eye Networks, and we believe we're working with them to deliver a cutting-edge, reliable, scalable, cyber-secure solution that we like to describe in three terms as simple, scalable, and secure. So to talk about simple, we'll talk about how easy it is to get the system up and running. So we use cloud-enabled IP cameras. They come shipped, pre-enabled to communicate with the cloud server. You simply plug those in. They automatically grab an IP address via DHCP off the network. And as long as they have an internet connection, they will ping up and be recognized and ready for use. You then take either our desktop application or our mobile application, and you access a pre-created account that we set up for you whenever you place the order. And that allows you to then search on the network, discover the camera, simply hit add, and the camera then starts to communicate directly with the servers up in the cloud. That footage is directly streamed. It's starting to store right away as soon as the camera's add. added, and then all of your access is done through either those two access points, either the desktop client or the mobile app. There's no on-premise recording hardware required for this solution. There's also no additional communications gateway to get these cameras up and running, so it's a pretty simple install. Next, scalable. So we offer what we call on-demand scalability, and what that really means is because we're leveraging cloud computing, we're not bound to channel count. So you could have one camera or you could have 100 cameras. They could be at one location, they could be at 100 locations. The system can grow as your customer needs grow without having to put any additional hardware other than an additional camera at any one of the locations. With that, because we are offering secure access from one central data center, we can create unlimited users. With those unlimited users, they have concurrent user access, which is something that is usually strained on an on-premise recorder. Certain cameras can only send out certain numbers of streams concurrently. This eliminates that problem, or I should say obstacle, for some of your larger jobs. Lastly, we'll talk about secure. So the data center itself is a state-of-the-art Tier 4 data center, and it takes a lot to get that rating. Number one, we offer end-to-end data encryption. And when we talk about that, that means when the camera starts to stream, we put an encryption wrapper on that in transmission. Once it hits the data center, we encrypt it again at the data center. So the likelihood of someone intercepting that video, someone trying to tamper with that video is pretty much eliminated. It also means that video is securely stored and only the customer with credentials has access to see it. They can grant access to us for support, but until they do that, no one's able to get into that system. No one can tamper with anything. No one can make any system changes other than the admin or any users that have permissions to do so. What this also offers is built-in 3 times data redundancy. So we're offering 3 backups of the recording included in the cost of the platform. That is something that is really powerful, especially when you talk about smaller camera counts. Typically, your smaller 4, 8-channel systems aren't going to offer the ability to offer any redundancy. There's no RAID capability built into those more lower cost systems. You can do that now all the way down to, say, a single camera. The Tier 4 data center also gives you ultra high availability. So we promise a 99.99% uptime so that the system will always be online. The likelihood of a customer you not being able to access that account is extremely low, and the risk is mitigated. The last 2 things there, you get fault tolerant site infrastructure, so there's redundant servers and failover in case a catastrophic event might happen, as well as independently powered cooling equipment to make sure that all the servers are in racks and they're running nice and secure and within the temperature ranges that you need. Lastly, for the secure option there is, because we're pushing everything down from a central location, all firmware updates and cybersecurity patches, they're done in the cloud automatically. So as we make improvements to features, as we make security patches, as we want to push camera firmware out, we're allowed to do that, and we can push that down from that server to every system on the edge in a seamless transition. So let's talk about the storage options. This is a vSaaS solution, so it is a video system as a service. So this is a subscription-based plan. There's multitudes of different days you get. So we start at 7 days. We go all the way up to 365 for a year's retention, depending upon what the customer might need. Currently, we offer 2 resolutions, starting at 720p with a maximum of 1080p. And what those subscriptions give you is kind of an all-encompassing plan. You get unlimited system access for your customer. They're not going to have to worry about a certain number of logins per month, a certain number of video clips stored per month. It's based on 24/7 operational monitoring and access. So you can definitely set up the plan to record on motion or an event-based recording, but there is no downside to recording 24/7. You can actually give them secure video, make sure no events are missed in the event that for some reason a motion event just didn't trigger. Keep it in 24/7. The plan cost stays the same. You also get unlimited event recording, so we will tag all of the events for easy access after the fact. And you get unlimited alerts. We send alerts out via email or push notifications, and that won't stop throughout the subscription period. So next, we'll hop right into the user interface. So we offer 2 ways to access the system. We have a desktop client that's available for both Windows and Mac OS X, as well as mobile applications for both iOS and Android platforms. The desktop application gives you a little bit more robust experience at this point in time because it is a bigger program. With that, you can live view up to 25 cameras in one grid, or is down to as few as 1. And you can mix and match that from 1 camera at one location to different cameras at different locations. Those will actually be able to be blended, so you drag and drop cameras over to get whatever view you want to see at the time. You manage all your camera settings and system settings, either from the mobile app or the desktop application, so you're not having to have an admin portal that you have to learn as well to try to set up administration. All the alerts are based on that. You get instant alerts via email or push notifications to the mobile apps. Offloading video evidence is extremely easy, which we'll walk through in a later slide. We do offer the unlimited user access. You also can create unique user permissions all the way down to the camera level, as well as a remote access support option that we have built in. So if your customer's having trouble, you're having trouble, we have the ability to turn on a support desk with our technical support staff here. We can actually log in then without having to get any credentials from the customer, so their passwords are secure. We'll fix the issue, see what we can do, and then as soon as we're done, they can disable that. We immediately get blocked out of the system, so it remains a secure access for their experience. So in the desktop client, this is your welcome screen. So when you load up the system, you're going to see a dashboard, and the dashboard is going to give you a couple of views. You'll get a real-time view of all of your zones, showing you all of the, I should say zones are based on location or locations in a building. So for instance, this is in two different areas in our building here, one in our marketing area, one in our sales area. That way we can easily see what cameras in what area when we want to access that. You get a real-time event dashboard. This will show you all the events that have taken place over the last kind of time frame that you have segmented for your subscription. That allows you to easily see what may have happened if you were logged out of the system. When you log in, you can see all those events in real time. Lastly, you get a status bar. That status bar is an easy way once you log in to see what cameras are recording, what cameras are not. You can easily then go and address if there's a problem that you need to troubleshoot. Take you into the live view. The live view is a pretty simple layout. We have all of our zones and cameras tabbed out on the left-hand side. It's a drag and drop functionality. So pick the camera you want to see, drag it over to the grid that you want to have it located in. If you don't like where that camera is located in the view, simply grab that camera and you can drag it down to another box right on the fly. You're going to see a status bar at the top of every camera. That's a snapshot view to show you, is the camera recording? It'll show you real-time frame rate and real-time bandwidth usage. So it's an easy way to monitor how the system's performing as well. The grid changes are on the bottom right, so you can change your multi-view from 1 to 25 cameras, and then you'll see a live view status bar over there, so you can customize the toolbar. If you don't want the toolbar active, turn it off. If you only want to see bit rate versus frame rate, you can customize that based upon what the user wants to see. Getting to your footage is extremely simple. So when you go to your playback footage, again, all your cameras are tabbed on the left. Choose the camera that you want. It'll show you all of the days based upon the subscription plan that you have that are being recorded. You'll see a number indicator on the right-hand side of that camera, and that's going to indicate how many events took place over that time period. So you drag that camera over, you have a timeline on the bottom. You'll see a red indicator bar that's going to show you where footage was recorded. Then you'll see these little markers. And what these little markers do is it indicates that an event took place and how many took place. If you hover your mouse icon over those, it's going to do a pop-up window, and it'll actually tell you what type of event took place, so you know if it's relevant to your search data or not. When you like what you see, you need to get a clip off. You hit the export button on the right-hand side. You'll see slider bars pop up that allow you to choose your start point and end point and kind of crunch down your time frame to make your clip. Hit the export button and you can choose between .mp4, .mov file types. So it's a universal file that'll play on any media player once you get it off to submit it as evidence. If you're trying to get to a specific area and say you've got a lot of events and you want to track that down a little bit farther and faster, we have a feature called Smart Lookup feature. So in the Smart Lookup feature, you can choose to turn this on. You'll see a grid pop up. You can then highlight an area in that grid and hit the search button. It will then immediately search the time frame that you're in, and it will eliminate any events that might have taken place outside of that box and reduce your search criteria. So the last thing that any user wants to do is sit and search through hours and hours of mindless video. This is a way to get to that footage extremely quickly in a very kind of defined location so they can get that evidence off, make sure that the case keeps moving forward in a timely fashion. The setup menu is all done here in the client. Each camera can be customized for your different modes. So you can rename the cameras here, choose to stream the camera on or off. We have a couple of different modes that allow you to get some pre-canned recording systems between armed, being always on, silent, disarmed, or you can schedule the way that you want the system to perform for recording or for alerts. And this is done on an individual basis. So each camera can be different on how you want it to respond. On the left, you'll also see the other options for our recording options, detections, detection types, how you set up the schedule, user interface, and video and sound options. So you can do camera level settings all from here. The big benefit for this is we don't actually make you go to the camera to do anything. So if you want to change, say, a WDR setting or a backlight setting, you're going to be able to control that from the desktop client, so you're not having to hop back and forth from a camera's interface to the actual system interface. We talk about customizing the schedule. So when you get in the schedule, you'll see we break this out from recording to push notifications to email alerts. So this can be done, again, on a per camera basis, and you can make this a global setting or an individual setting. So for instance, here, we've decided to separate out our push notifications. I want smart detections only. So with this system, we do offer 2 smart analytics that are based on an AI algorithm. So you're going to get a person detection or an object detection, and that's free with this subscription. There's no additional upcharge to get those. But if I only want to be noticed on this, but I don't want to be notified on a PIR sensor that the camera may have built in, I can turn the schedule off for the PIR and only get alerts on the smart detection. So it gets really granular on how you want it to perform. The last interface here is our user interface, and that's one of the biggest advantages to this platform. Because it's centralized, you have centralized user control. You create your users in the client, the admin will. You can choose what permissions you want that user to have. You can then choose when they have schedule access to the platform in general. You can even make that on a per camera basis. Where this really comes helpful is multi-site. So you're not having to go to each location, to each on-premise recorder to set up a user credential for someone to get access to. So if you say have a store in Los Angeles, you have a store in New York, the head office is in New York, you can create all your user credentials at that office from the admin, and everyone in California immediately gets access to the platform, and they don't have to go to an on-premise recorder at all to try to set that up. You can also immediately delete or block users from this. So if for some reason that person no longer needs access, come in here as the admin, delete that credential. As soon as they try to log in, it's going to tell them that they're not able to. So it's kind of an instant on or off access button. So this is the mobile app experience. So as the desktop client is really robust, the mobile app is actually just as robust. It's just a little more limited on certain features like setting up detection areas and concurrent streaming. So you'll still be able to see all of your zones broken out individually. You then have the same playback option where we will show you all of the detection events on the timeline to get to that video quickly. You can export clips directly from the phone as well. And then you do have these same camera settings available in the mobile app. So it's a very robust and very complete experience. The only 2 things that we don't offer today is you can't set up a detection area. So if I wanted to shrink my zone for, say, an object detection, you have to do that in a desktop client. And if you wanted to create user credentials, that's all managed in the desktop client. But other than that, the mobile app gives you pretty much the same experience. So now we'll talk about the benefits of the cloud versus a traditional system. So number 1, there is a lower total cost of ownership, and that comes in a couple of things. Number 1, upfront, there is less hardware that the customer is going to have in place. So when it comes to the upfront cost of getting a system installed, you're going to be able to get in the door with a lower price point because you're not having to worry about an additional recorder inside. You're also not going to have to worry about the maintenance of that server. So you're not having to put it in a secure room, create cooling for it. You're not having to go back on site for firmware updates. You're not having to worry about a UPS on that. And so the equipment cost is definitely lower, which also leads into our maintenance. You're not going to have anyone on site having to maintain that. Cameras are installed. The cameras are the only part of the system that we have to worry about. There's enhanced security. So we offer an end-to-end encryption. We offer redundancy. We offer a secure offsite. That gives them the ability to have a secure video solution. They don't have to worry about a smash and grab on the recorder. They don't have to worry about catastrophic failures. Say if a fire takes place or if, say, water damage happens in the store, all the video up to the point where maybe the camera stopped working is going to be secure. You get the unparalleled accessibility. So most on-premise recorders are based on a single NIC or multiple NICs, but you have a limited number of concurrent streams. You have a limited number of users you can create, and you're going to have a limited number of concurrent, streams that can come out of that. So this solution eliminates all of that. We can do unlimited users, unlimited concurrent access. It's all built in. And then the on-demand scalability, because there is no channel count, there's no physical plug other than your networking equipment to get a camera online. You're not bound to a specific channel count at the time of purchase. So if you start with, say, 2 cameras, we can expand that to 4, 6 to 8 to 10, as high as they want to go, as long as I've got the network to support it. The benefit for you, hopefully this will help reduce your training time. So you're teaching them one interface. It's a mobile app, it's a desktop client. They don't have a local interface to interact with. They don't have anything in terms of a piece of hardware they have to worry about learning how to maintain. It's all done via software. There's a way for you to earn money up front still. You're still going to sell cameras. The subscription plans are flexible from a monthly basis, or if you want to have a customer prepay for a year, they can prepay for a year's worth of service. You get that money up front. It is basically just like selling an on-premise solution in terms of the kind of the average cost to the customer. Reduce your installation times. So you're installing cameras are going up, you're getting them online. We eliminate the need for having to program a recorder on site, securing that recorder, maintaining that recorder, and as well as not worrying about any networking on the customer's network. We don't require port forwarding on the solution. So once the camera's online and you add it to the system, it's talking to the cloud. You're not having to do any additional firewall rules to get this up and running. Hopefully that'll help minimize your service calls. So if someone does have a call and have a problem, the entire troubleshooting process is typically done over the network remotely. You're not having to drive out and go on site. And lastly, it's going to generate some recurring monthly revenue for you for video, which is a category most people don't have the ability to offer that today. It's kind of a new category for most of our customers and most dealers in the industry. Next, we'll go through some common applications. So we've got other slides that'll cover here more in detail, but this is great for retail solutions. With retail, there's a couple things. One, PCI compliance is something that always gets brought up in retail. People want cameras, but they don't want the system to only be seen on premise. So PCI compliance is something that requires the network itself to be secure. Whenever you open up any ports in a firewall, you're basically blocking PCI compliance from being able to be implemented by that retailer. Because we don't do any port forwarding and we only use outbound port rules to get to the cloud, we can make sure that the system keeps that customer completely secure and compliant. So they're not going to get a report back saying, hey, I need to figure out how to get the system locked down. It's secure video capture because it is encrypted. They're going to like that. They're not going to have to worry about people trying to intercept or tamper with their video, which is huge for retail. You know, trying to reduce shrink is one of their biggest loss prevention goals. You can offer liability prevention. So because you can offer complete long-term storage, you're making sure that they're in compliance for any slip and fall cases for a very long time. And then the easy multi-site management. As we mentioned, we can do users across the country. We can do cameras across the country, and it centralizes into one platform that's very easy for regional loss prevention managers with a centralized loss prevention manager to manage and keep up and running. Next, we mentioned the unlimited users. Great application for this, and one of the most common we hear is daycare centers, nursing homes, pet facilities, where you've got maybe one facility, but they may have a lot of paying clients and they want to have access into the systems. They want to see their kids in the daycare room. They want to see their dog when they're on vacation. They want to see their parents whenever they're in their room in a facility at a nursing home. You can create these users. You can have unlimited. You can basically turn that on or off. So as people come and go from those facilities, it's easy to go in, delete that credential. They immediately lose access so that you're not kind of orphaning a credential out in the field where a parent can see back into that room when they're not a paying customer any longer. It just makes it extremely simple for those types of applications to stay compliant. Centralized management, great for school campuses. When you've got, say, a school district, we can centralize all of the user management from one admin location. So you could have campuses across an entire city that are all being managed from one location. Different annexes where you may have a building on the other side. There's no way to get internet access to it. That's one shared LAN. You can have those go across an internet connection at one building and an internet connection at the other. They still blend into one system. You're not having to do any specialized wireless bridges back and forth or trying to trench cable to a building as long as they both have internet access. It's great for municipalities and citywide facilities. That's a great one. You can have a lot of cities that have buildings across the city for maintenance, for police, EMS, fire. If they want that to be in one location, one management, this solution allows you to do that. Lastly, here we have legal compliance. So there's a lot of industries that do have recording retention requirements. Gaming industry, cannabis industry is now very heavily regulated on how long video has to be stored, as well as you need to have redundant copies. So because this is flexible, when we say that we're going to offer you, say, 30 days of storage, that's 30 days 24/7, and you get it triple backed up as part of the subscription. So it allows these types of customers to have a very easy way to stay in compliance with very low touch on their part, very low maintenance. Network integrity is another big one, especially when you get into things like hospitals. You want to make sure you're in HIPAA compliance. These are going to make sure that they can stay in compliance. The network's not going to be compromised. Firewalls will be intact. It's just a great way to walk in with a good solution to say we can absolutely take care of your needs, and you don't have to do any additional special work to get them into compliance. So what's next? So after this webinar, please check your email inbox. We're going to give you a copy of this presentation. We'll give you links to all the online content to talk about the Alibi Cloud VS solution. Secondly, go online. We have an entire page on our Alibi Security website dedicated to Alibi Cloud VS. It's in the top search bar, toolbar on the top, where you can see all of the materials that we have for the solution itself, as well as all the cameras that are available and currently enabled for this platform. And then lastly, please call for a live demo. Your account manager is more than capable of setting you up, showing you how the system works in real time, so you can see this work in action and get a little bit better idea of how it truly functions. As with this, we have a running demo plan right now. So anyone that attended this, when you call in, tell them that you attended the webinar. We're offering a 20% discount off of any of the cloud-enabled cameras to help you get one in your hands. We want you to get set up. We want you to play with it. We want you to be able to show customers something. So call in. If you're a brand new dealer, brand new customer, get set up. This is the number for your account manager. If you don't have it, please call in. Right after this webinar, we've got guys standing by today to take your calls. Happy to help. So lastly, we're going to go through some questions and answers that were asked. So number one, how much bandwidth is required for the solution? So this is a cloud solution. We are streaming constantly. So bandwidth is something that you need to take into account before you deploy it. Bandwidth is really relative to the solution you want. So we offer, a 720p or a 1080p subscription plan. The bit rate can be as low as 128 kilobits per second based upon your frame rate that you want to set. It can be as high as 2 megs per second whenever you set it up to the highest setting. So it kind of ranges, and you get to tweak that based upon the customer's availability for their upload speed, as well as how you want the system to record from resolution and frame rate. But we do have a maximum of 2 megabits per second. So that kind of gives you a good range on where you might need to pre-plan for. What is the max resolution for recording? So with maximum resolution, currently it is 1080p. We are working on expanding that in the future. The next step would possibly be 4 megapixels. So stay tuned. That is probably going to happen over the next 4 to 6 months. We'll open that up. And the reason it's limited now is 1080p for cloud is kind of the standard for cloud, and that is usually due to the bandwidth capability. The higher resolution we go, the more bandwidth the customer needs to provide for you to be able to make sure the system works correctly. So as we improve the system, improve the platform, we will open up higher resolutions. Lastly here, will there be a live training class available? Yes, there is. We actually do certified dealer trainings multiple times a year here in-house. You can attend that live in person. We also offer a remote training option for that if you don't want to make the trip or can't make the trip. So we're flexible to be able to make sure that you are up to speed on all of our products, not just this one, through those classes. There's also going to be a continuing webinar series that we do on this that talks more about how to pitch the solution. The next one is on October 24th. So if you want to understand a better way to understand how to sell this into different verticals, that's a great one to attend. We'll also be following that up with some technical webinars on how to actually use the interface so you can get more familiar with it that way as well. Lastly, that's it. Thank you for attending today. And if you have any questions, please reach out to your account rep.